I've wanted to take a thumbnail like that the entire time I've been on Booktube. Not gonna lie, I've sort of felt sometimes like, oh man, is that what my channel is lacking? Are the huge stacks of books what I need to make this channel take off? Hi everyone, Rosie here. Welcome back to my channel. This is my first ever unhaul. If you saw my April wrap-up last week, that will be up here, you will know that my partner and I are moving, and I've decided that there are some books I just don't like enough to move. That's all there is to it. It's not that I hate these books or I think they're really bad or anything. It's just that the act of taking every book off a shelf, putting it in a box, then carrying that box up to a car and out of a car and up to the second floor where my office is going to be, it really makes you think about like, is this a book I want to hold on to? I've got a stack of books here. Let's run through them. These are mostly books I read a long time ago, but not all, so yeah, I guess let's just get into it. I'm so not used to having an actual stack of books next to me. This is so unusual. The first one I have is Karen Armstrong's A Short History of Myth. This falls very much into the category of it was a fine read, I enjoyed it well enough, but I didn't love it 5 years ago, so why am I still holding on to it? I'm gonna donate it and then someone else will read it and they will enjoy it and hopefully, you know, get more out of it. I mean, that's going to be the case for most of these, because like I said, I read them a long time ago and I didn't love them, so they're not ones that have stuck with me that much. These two might be controversial. I'm unhauling The Book Thief and I Am the Messenger by Markus Zusak. Let's hold these up here. Again, similar reasoning. I read these a very long time ago. Like, The Book Thief probably close to 10 years ago. This came out in 2005, so I would say somewhere around 2010 probably I read The Book Thief, and then a few years later I read I Am the Messenger, and just, I liked them well enough. They were good books, but I don't feel that strongly about them. I know they're big favorites and a lot of people really, really love these, but like I said, I just don't feel that much. So again, time to donate. Then I have 3 books by Michael Lewis. I have The Big Short, I have Boomerang, and I have Liar's Poker. I feel like this is going to be a disappointing unhaul because you probably clicked unhaul and wanted to hear about all the books that I absolutely hate, which this isn't the case for these. I didn't hate them. I enjoyed them. I'm actually not even sure if I've read Boomerang. I don't feel enough about them. They're interesting. They're fun to pick up and read when you want something, you know, kind of economicsy and interesting and well written and not too dense or anything, but they're not favorites. They're not books that I'm ever gonna look and go, this was my favorite book of the year, or this book was so impactful. They're just good to read. So I've got ebook versions of all of these and several of his other books as well. If I want to read Michael Lewis, I'll read the ebooks. I don't need to keep the physical copy as like a collector's item because that's what my physical books mostly are. They're not the books that I want to read usually. They're the ones that I have read and I love enough to be like, I want this object in my home. This one is a recent read. This is Narcoland by Anabel Hernandez. I read this. When did I read this? Did I read this in January maybe? I either read this in January or November. I can't remember when it was, but I will figure out which wrap-up I talked about this in and I will link it up here. I was really excited about this book. I thought it was going to be really incredible and I didn't like it. I didn't find it super well written, or at least for what I wanted out of this book, it wasn't super well written. So unfortunately, even though this is a beautiful, pristine, brand new copy, because when I bought the ebook, it was a whole mistake one morning when I was stressed and I bought a whole bunch of physical and ebook bundles from Verso Books. I want to hold on to it because it's a nice thing, but that's how I end up with a library full of books I don't care about, which isn't what I want to curate in my library. So again, hopefully someone else will enjoy it. This is one I actually haven't read yet, and it is The Wind-Up Girl by Paolo Bacigaluppi. I have physical copy of this and an ebook copy of this. I have had this for 5+ years and I have never wanted to read it. I bought it because it sounded good. Like, look at that cover. It looks so cool. It's science fiction, dystopian-ish, I think, set in the not distant future where apparently we're in a post-oil economy, which sounds like an interesting concept to read about in a book, but the world is controlled by companies that produce calories, and calories are the main currency, and food scarcity is a big issue, and apparently there is a bioengineered plague that's running rampant, and I'm just don't think I'm going to want to read this. If I have not wanted to read this in the, again, more than 5 years that I've had it, don't think I'm going to want to read it. If I do read the ebook copy and I absolutely love it and I need to own it, I can buy a second, but that doesn't seem likely. This doesn't sound like a book I'm going to want to read, and if I read it, it doesn't sound like a book I'm going to like, so again, it doesn't need to be on my shelves. I did like this one. It's The Unbeatable Squirrel Girl Volume 1 by, who is this by? North and Henderson, apparently. This is a cute Marvel Comics. This is a trade paperback one. I liked it. It was cute enough. It was fun, but I didn't care enough to want to collect the rest of the series, and if I didn't care enough to want to buy and read the rest of the series, I want someone else to enjoy this book. I feel like this video is getting really repetitive, and I'm sorry, but like, what else can I say? This is now a graphic novel that I felt ambivalent about. It's called Tokyo Days, Bangkok Nights by Jonathan Vankin, Seth Fisher, Giuseppe Camuncoli, and Sean Martinbrough. This is about, it's got 2 stories in it. One of them about like a guy in Tokyo, a tourist, a Western tourist in Tokyo, and then the other story is about a pair of Western tourists in Bangkok. I gave this book 3 stars when I read it in, I think like 2014, maybe 2015. So I didn't love it then. I don't remember anything about the story. Maybe I'm really missing out. Maybe if I reread it, I would love it. But like, I don't think that's likely. I think it's just, it was a fun read, but I don't need to hang on to it. Then, this one might be controversial, and I'm unsure. But I might change my mind on this. I don't know. I've got The Penguin Complete Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. This is a brick of a book with like all of the Sherlock Holmes in it. And I don't know, like I said, I'm still on the fence. Now that I'm talking about all this, I'm like, oh, should I keep it? Should I keep it maybe? I don't love Sherlock Holmes. I've read a few of the books. I don't love them though. They're not really my thing. I don't feel like I'll ever want to read all of them, or I don't know, it's a nice book, right? It's like nice, it's got like the shiny gold and like it looks cool. Tell me down below. Actually, I'll probably have already gotten rid of these by the time this video goes up. Tell me down below, what should I do with this, and we'll see if I made the right choice or not. I'll let you know in the comments. Then I have Every Day by David Levithan. This is, I think it's a YA book. I certainly read this when I was a teenager, and it was about teenagers, so I assume it's a YA book. It's about A, who wakes up every day in a different body, and this is the only way they've ever lived. They've never had their own body. They don't know where they came from or what's going on. And then they meet a girl, I think. I can't remember. It's a romance, but like with this weird speculative twist, I guess. I don't know. I didn't hate this book. I liked it well enough, but it's not one that I feel attached to or have any interest to return to or feel any connection to. I am also getting rid of The Casual Vacancy by J.K. Rowling. I don't think I need to go into too much detail. I don't agree with J.K. Rowling's rampant and insistent transphobia. I don't want to support her going forward. I don't want to keep this book on my bookshelf. Related to that, I also have The Science of Harry Potter by Roger Highfield and Harry, A History by Melissa Anelli. So this one, I'm only just reading Roger Highfield, author of The Physics of Christmas, which I read in December. Anyway, that's a funny coincidence. I hadn't made that connection. This is just all about like theoretical science about how you could explain some stuff in Harry Potter and stuff. Again, no longer want to support J.K. Rowling, don't care about Harry Potter anymore, don't want to keep it on my bookshelf. And Harry, A History is, Melissa Anelli was like the webmaster or something along those lines of one of the really big Harry Potter fan sites back in the day. Which one was it? Leaky Cauldron. Okay, I thought it was that one. That was my preferred Harry Potter fan site in like, 2006. And this was about the fandom and the books and like the cultural phenomena and stuff. I've actually read it a couple times, again, many years ago, but now I don't want to keep it anymore. A possibly controversial one because this is a popular author on Booktube. I have More Than This by Patrick Ness. I don't remember that much about this book. It's about a guy who dies and then like wakes up, and is he in hell? Is he in the afterlife? What's going on with him? Big questions. I actually don't remember what the answer is in the end. Again, it's just another YA book that I read in my late teens or very early 20s and liked well enough. I didn't hate it. It wasn't awful. I just didn't like it enough to keep it, which, yes, I know I could have just said that once. Here's a list of books. It was okay, but I don't want to keep it. Oh well, you're getting a whole video out of it. Then I have a collection of speeches. It's called We Shall Fight on the Beaches, The Speeches That Inspired History by Jacob F. Field. When I took this off my shelf, I actually wasn't sure if I'd read it. I sort of went, oh, maybe I should keep that. Maybe I'll want to read all these famous speeches, because it's got like throughout history famous speeches by all sorts of leaders and stuff, compiled with like I think some like historical context notes. It turns out I have read this book. I think I gave it like 3 stars though, a very long time ago. Any of these speeches, if I wanted to reference them or if I wanted to read them, I could go find online. I don't particularly love this copy of the book. I clearly wasn't super impressed with the content of the book, and maybe someone else will find it inspiring or something. And these books should get to live a happy life. These books should live lives with people who appreciate them, and if I no longer appreciate them, they deserve to go to a better home. I then have The Great Railway Bazaar, By Train Through Asia by Paul Theroux. This is a travel book. The author, Paul Theroux, he travels from London down to France on the Orient Express through a bunch of different trains all the way to Japan. Then he goes to Vladivostok and travels back to Moscow via the Trans-Siberian, and then back to London by train through Europe. I love train travel, guys. It is possibly my favorite mode of transportation. I frequently daydream about the trip I want to take on either the Trans-Siberian or the Trans-Mongolian, and all the places I want to stop, and how much I'm going to enjoy it. And that's like one of my dream bucket list type trips, is these epic train journeys. So I was really excited about this book, and it started off strong. I read it like 5 years ago, so I'm speaking from memory, but it started off strong. I enjoyed the first sections, but you could tell that by the end, Theroux was just like fed up and sick of traveling, and it just felt really like negative and not enjoyable by the end. It wasn't an attitude that I was interested in reading in travel writing. Not that I think travel writing should be super perky all the time, nothing negative ever happens. Obviously there's going to be negative periods, but in this it felt like it wasn't because of anything that was happening or the situation he was in. It felt like he was just tired out and grumpy, and that was really affecting how he was writing about everything, and that just wasn't enjoyable. If you know good travel books about trains, let me know. I would love to read them. This just wasn't it for me. And to finish, I have I have 5 Black Widow comic bind-ups, or whatever you want to call them. I have Black Widow, The Finely Woven Thread. I have The Tightly Tangled Web, The Name of the Rose, The Itsy Bitsy Spider, and Deadly Origin. Basically what happened is around the time the first Avengers movie came out, I was really into Hawkeye and Black Widow out of the Avengers. That was during the brief period where I was into the Marvel Universe and like following the movies and like watching them and stuff. So I got these 5 books because I wanted to learn more about Black Widow. I'd never been a comics reader before. I didn't really have much history. I read all these. I didn't hate them. I just never got into comics, I guess. I think I sort of thought I was going to read these and then like continue to buy more and continue to get more into the character and the character's different arcs and all of that type of thing. And it just didn't happen. In the pile of books that I'm not getting rid of, I kept all of the Hawkeye comics by Matt Faction, which I did really like because those are comics or comic bind-ups or comic arc, I don't know what you call it, you can tell I'm a noob, that I enjoy in its own right. I don't feel the need to go out and collect a whole bunch of more Hawkeye stuff or like read other stuff about the character to enjoy that collection, so I'm keeping those. But these ones, I don't remember what any of these are about. I read them, they were fine. They'll go on to someone else who will be excited to have them, or at least excited to try them out, and maybe they'll pass them on again. It's all a big ecosystem, right? Everything comes and goes and you gotta recirculate. Okay, did I say anything of value about any of these books? Probably not. I don't think I said anything useful in this entire video, but these are the books that I have chosen not to move. Let me know down below. Do you think I made the right choice? I hope I haven't hurt your feelings too much by getting rid of one of your favorites, but remember, these are just the ones that, for me, I don't feel enough about them. I mean, I think there's really only a couple that I disliked. It's just for most of them, I'm like, I don't connect to this. So hopefully someone else will. Also, I would love to hear about your guys' policy towards unhauling. Do you keep every book you read? Do you mostly read from the library so you don't have to make this decision? Do you unhaul routinely, or do you just do a big one when you move? I would love to know. As always, if you like this video, please give it a like down below. If you would like to see more of my videos, please hit subscribe, and thank you for watching.